Hey, it's Liam, and I want to open today with a number that honestly made me angry the first time I saw it. For every single dollar that a consumer spends on food in America, at the grocery store, at a restaurant, anywhere, the farmer who actually grew that food receives on average 14 cents. 14 cents. The other 86 cents goes to processors, packers, distributors, wholesalers, retailers. Every hand the food passes through between your farm and the person eating it, every single one of those hands takes a cut, and by the time that money gets back to you, most of it is already gone. Now, think about that against the backdrop of everything we've been talking about on this channel lately. Input costs at record highs, commodity prices below the cost of production, farm bankruptcies climbing, farmers borrowing more money than ever just to plant their next crop. And the whole time, 86 cents out of every dollar you created is going somewhere else. Today, I want to talk about what happens when you start taking some of that money back. Because there are farmers across America right now, small farms, family farms, farms that look a lot like yours, who have quietly figured out how to bypass parts of that chain, and the financial difference it has made to their operations is not small. It is life-changing. Let me give you the bigger picture first, because I think context matters. Small family farms in America, farms with income under $350,000 a year, sold $2.4 billion worth of food directly to consumers in a single recent year. That is not a niche trend. That is not a hobby farm experiment. That is billions of dollars flowing directly from consumers to farmers, cutting out the middleman entirely. And here is what the data shows about farmers who sell direct versus farmers who don't. Farmers who sell directly to consumers experience significantly lower rates of farm business failure than those relying solely on wholesale distribution. Let me say that again. Farms that sell direct are more financially resilient. They fail less. They survive tough markets better. That is not a coincidence. That is the math of keeping more of what you earn. So, what does direct-to-consumer actually look like in practice? Because I think when a lot of farmers hear that phrase, they picture a tiny booth at a weekend market and wonder whether it is actually worth their time. And that is a fair question. So let me break down the real options, from the simplest to the most scalable, and be honest about what each one requires. The first and most accessible option is the farmer's market. And I want to address the skepticism directly because I hear it a lot. Liam, I'm a row crop farmer, not a vegetable grower. Farmers markets aren't for me. And I understand that instinct, but I want to challenge it. Farmers markets are not just for produce. The fastest growing categories at farmers markets right now are value-added products. Things like jams, honey, baked goods, cured meats, specialty cheeses, dried herbs, flavored oils. These are products that come from farms. They come from the same raw materials that farmers already grow and raise. The difference is one step of processing that transforms a commodity into a premium product with a premium price. Here is a real number for you. A well-positioned vendor at a busy farmer's market can bring in between $1,000 and $1,500 on a single market day during peak season. Even a smaller market with modest foot traffic typically generates $300 to $500 per day for a prepared vendor. And the booth fee? Often $15 to $30 for the morning. Now compare that math to selling a commodity. If you grow tomatoes and sell them wholesale, you might get 30 to 40 cents a pound. Sell those same tomatoes at a farmer's market, and you are getting $2, $3, sometimes $4 a pound. Same tomato, same labor to grow it. Completely different price. The key is showing up consistently, learning your market, and understanding what your specific customers want. The farmers who struggle at markets are usually the ones who showed up twice, had a slow day, and gave up. The ones who thrive are the ones who treated it like a business, who tracked what sold, refined their product mix, learned their customers' names, and came back every single week. The second option is the community-supported agriculture model. Most people just call it a CSA. And this one I have a genuine soft spot for because I think it is one of the smartest financial structures in all of small-scale farming. Here is how it works. At the beginning of the growing season, usually in late winter or early spring, your customers pay you upfront. They buy a share of your farm's harvest for the season. In return, they get a weekly box of whatever you are growing and harvesting that week for the whole season. Think about what that means financially. You get paid before you plant. You have guaranteed revenue before you spend a single dollar on seeds or inputs. Your cash flow is inverted compared to every commodity farmer who spends all spring and summer spending money and then waits until fall to find out what the market will pay them. A CSA with 50 members paying $600 for a 20-week season generates $30,000 upfront in your hands before the season starts. No waiting for harvest. No hoping the market price holds up. No middleman taking their cut. And here is something that most people don't think about. CSA customers are your most loyal customers. They have skin in the game. They paid for the whole season. They are invested in your farm's success in a way that a grocery store shopper never is. These are the customers who become your advocates, who tell their friends, who post about your farm on social media, who come back year after year. The third option is one that I think is genuinely underexplored by most traditional farmers, and it has enormous potential: selling online. Grocery is on track to become the single largest e-commerce category by 2026. Consumers are now completely comfortable buying food online, including fresh and frozen products. The pandemic accelerated that shift dramatically, and it has not reversed. For a farm, an online store means your market is no longer limited to the people who drive past your farm stand or show up at your local farmer's market on Saturday morning. Your market is anyone within delivery distance. Or, for shelf-stable products, anyone in the country. Think about what that opens up. A farmer making artisan honey, specialty grain flour, dried mushrooms, cured meats, herb blends, flavored salts. Any shelf-stable, value-added product can ship that product to a customer in any state. Their price is set by their brand and their story, not by what the commodity market decided that day. And here is the piece that I think matters most about online selling. When you sell online, you own the relationship with your customer. You have their email address. You can reach out to them directly. You can tell them about a new product. You can let them know when your beef or pork shares are available. You build a customer base that belongs to you, not to a retailer, not to a platform, not to a middleman, to you. Now, I want to spend a moment on something that I think is the real secret behind all of this, and it is something that no commodity market can ever compete with: your story. When a consumer buys corn at a commodity price, they are buying a number on a futures contract. There is no story, there is no face, there is no farm. But when a consumer buys from you directly, from your booth, from your website, from your CSA, they are buying something completely different. They are buying a connection to where their food comes from. They are buying the story of your family, your land, your practices, your values. And in 2026, with consumers more interested in food transparency than at any point in modern history, that story has genuine monetary value. I want to give you a specific example of what this looks like in practice. There is a farm concept I came across that started selling lavender products. Lavender concentrate, lavender honey, lavender soap, directly through their farm's online store. They took something that grew on their land and transformed it into a branded product that told a specific, authentic story. And because that story was compelling and the product was genuinely good, they were able to price it at a level that commodity lavender could never reach. That is what I mean when I say your story is worth money. It is not marketing fluff. It is a genuine competitive advantage that large commodity operations cannot replicate, no matter how much money they have. I want to be honest with you about the challenges here, because I always try to give you the full picture. Going direct is not free. Setting up a farmer's market booth costs time and money. Building a CSA customer base takes at least 1 or 2 seasons of consistent effort. Creating an online store and shipping products requires setup work up front. And there is one challenge I want to name directly, because I think it trips up a lot of farmers who are new to direct marketing: underpricing. Farmers are, by nature and by habit, price takers. Decades of selling into commodity markets trains you to accept whatever price the market offers. Transitioning to direct sales means becoming a price setter, and that requires a different mindset entirely. When you set your prices, they need to reflect your actual costs plus a real profit margin, not what your neighbor charges, not what feels comfortable, what your farm actually needs to be sustainable. I have seen farmers show up at markets, sell out everything they brought, come home exhausted, and then do the math and realize they barely covered their gas money because they priced too low. Know your costs, price for profit, and do not apologize for charging what your product is worth. Let me bring this back to the big picture one more time. We are in one of the toughest stretches in American farm history right now. Input costs high, commodity prices low, debt climbing, bankruptcies rising. The system that most farmers have relied on, grow a commodity, sell it at whatever price the market offers, hope for a better year, is under enormous strain. But the system of selling directly to the people who eat your food, that system is growing. Consumers want it. The market for it is expanding every year. And the farmers who are building that kind of business right now, even slowly, even one market booth or 10 CSA members at a time, are building something that no trade war, no commodity price crash, and no bad harvest year can completely take away. Because your customers are not a trading floor in Chicago. They are your neighbors. They are real people who chose your farm. And that relationship, built one interaction at a time, one honest conversation at a time, one great product at a time, is the most durable asset a farm can have. Here is your one action this week. I want you to look up the farmers markets within 30 miles of your farm. Find out when they run, what the vendor application process looks like, and what the booth fees are. You don't have to commit to anything. Just find out what the option looks like for your specific area. And while you are at it, I want you to think about one product, just one, that your farm produces that you could sell directly at a premium, not a commodity, a product, something with your farm's name on it. That is your starting point. Everything else builds from there.